Chapter 57. Michael. By the time we get to my parents' house, I have the unsatisfied feeling of arguing over something that doesn't really matter, because I've hidden the subject that we really need to discuss. I don't feel right about hiding the marathon class from Jen, but there's no good time to bring it up. What will I do if she says, in one of her final pronouncements, that there's no way I should do it, and if I don't cancel it, the wedding's off? That's exactly the sort of thing she'd say. "How's the running going?" Dad asks me. "I'm on track," I reply. Ironic, really, it's the only thing I'm doing well. After dinner, Jen's in the kitchen with Mum. Dad beckons me into the lounge. He hands me a manila envelope. "It's a draft prenuptial agreement," he says. I cast a worried look over my shoulder to check Jen is out of earshot. "Dad," I hiss, "this is really insulting. Do you honestly think we're going to get divorced?" "I just wouldn't want to see you lose your house if anything happened. Remember, we gave you the deposit." "I'm grateful," I say through gritted teeth, "but you can't hold it over me, Dad." "Just take it and read it over when you get a chance." "Michael, do you want tea or coffee?" Jen calls. "Coffee, please." I stomp into the hallway and put the envelope in my bag. Having both parents as lawyers, I think my whole family has trust issues. "I don't want you to end up like your dad," Jen said. Seeing the world as he sees it, I envision the scenario. Jen yelling at me that I've ruined her life and packing a bag and leaving forever. Divorce papers through the post. Putting my house on the market. The whole thing gives me physical pain in my stomach. A prenup isn't going to salve that wound. It would be like trying to stick a plaster over a hemorrhage. I just need to not screw this up. Maybe I should approach Jen about changing the date. After all, it's a lot of stress on her to plan a wedding at such short notice. I sit with my parents and drink coffee while Jen calls Katie, and amidst my non-committal responses to mindless small talk, I try to formulate a few choice phrases to broach the subject. "I've been thinking about the stress you've been under. I didn't really consider what planning a wedding in 4 months would be like." "Guess what?" Jen bursts in, her face shining, holding out her phone. "Katie's booked us 2 nights at a luxury hotel for our mini-moon, as she calls it. And she's designed the invites. Look!" My heart sinks as I see the scripted writing of the fatal date, 12th of April, in bold black font. Why did I have to choose this date? Why did I rush everything? "Do you like it?" Jen asks. I've barely registered the gold, feather and dark green leaf design. "It's great," I say mechanically. "If we order them now, we'll be able to send them out by next weekend," she grins. "They look very elegant," Mum says approvingly. Dad catches my eye with a reproachful look, then picks up the newspaper. We leave shortly after breakfast the next day, as we've finally arranged to cook for Dan and Louise as we'd promised. Jen's mood seems to have received an injection of fresh positivity and energy from the hotel and the invites, and she chatters away on the drive about finding her mum's recipe for chicken. "I was thinking about what Steve said," she continues. "I don't need to be afraid that I'm going to make the same mistakes as Mum did. I can still celebrate the happy times. Otherwise it feels like I'm dragging around a ball and chain whenever I think about her. It's 10 years since she died next month. I want to mark it somehow." I've been wanting Jen to open up more about her mum and find healthy ways of grieving since I heard about her death, but I'm so preoccupied with my own sword of Damocles that I have limited enthusiasm. "That's great," I reply, flatly. "Is everything okay?" she asks, examining my expression. I do my best poker face. Then I attempt to smile. "Everything's fine." "Can you pull over?" She points to an upcoming lay-by. I indicate and move the car off the main road. It rolls to a halt. "I'm enjoying the marriage prep course and seeing your parents, but I want to connect with you," she says. "You've been really stressed at work. Do you want to talk about it?" "Work is not that bad," I answer truthfully. "Is it David?" she presses. "Is he overloading you?" I shake my head. "He's been all right." "Is it me?" she asks, searching my face. "Have I done something?" Guilt twists in my stomach. "No," I say, touching her cheek. I can hear the soft noise of her breath. I lean forward, savouring the moment where our faces are so close but still a hair's breadth apart. She smells honey sweet. Our mouths meet, and I can't think about anything else. I was beginning to worry you didn't like me anymore, she says breathlessly. I answer her first with another kiss. I don't deserve you, I tell her. By the time we've stopped off at the supermarket, then arrived at my house, we can't wait to shut the door and be alone together. I never saw my hallway as a particularly romantic place until Jen grabs me, causing me to drop the shopping bags in surprise. Kiss me, she demands, and I'm not going to argue. I should probably put the chicken in the fridge, I suggest, after a few minutes of what Bronte might call a passionate embrace. I'm going to marinate it, Jen murmurs against my ear, and it's unbelievably sexy, though I have no idea why. I find her mouth again and kiss her until she groans in the back of her throat. Does talking about cooking always turn you on? She asks wryly. Only when you're doing it, I reply. We manage to sort out the food, in between some rather heated interludes, but then Jen surprises me again by putting the kettle on. We never really finished our conversation about my exes, she says. Now might be a good time. Okay, I gulp. It seems ironic that while I'm struggling not to break my vow and take Jen upstairs, we have to talk about the guys who have already had that privilege. It's not as bad as you think, she continues, setting out mugs and twisting open the tin of tea bags. My first boyfriend was Jamie. We were together in year 11. I didn't sleep with him. Then there was George. I met him at uni and went back to his room a couple of times, but it didn't last long. I used a dating app and met Ryan, but we just went on a few dates. He lived with his parents and I didn't want to bring him back to my flat. That's it. So, you only slept with George? I ask. This is much better than my original estimates. Yes, technically. Jen pours hot water into the mugs. What do you mean, technically? You know, she says, like Americans say with first base and all that. What? I'm totally clueless. There's a difference between going all the way with someone and just doing stuff. Oh. I take my mug. I suppose this is to be expected. I can't help but feel nervous about my complete lack of experience. What if I'm rubbish? What was your first time like with George? I ask. I want to know, but I also don't want to know. It was all right, she shrugs. I wouldn't say it was amazing. He was nice. Nice? Ouch. I hope she doesn't say that about me if Katie or Dina asks her. I hope they don't ask her. Is it normal for women to talk about this? What I mean is, she continues, you don't need to worry. You don't have to live up to anything. I may have done it before, but it doesn't make me experienced. I'm worried, I confess, that I'm not going to be good enough for you. I'm nervous too, she smiles. But judging from what happens when we kiss, I don't think we're going to have any problems.